Alright guys, I am up on the second floor. I'm looking at one of the side windows that faces our neighbors next door. We've got a couple windows on the sides like this, and then we've got two facing out to the street. The two that are going to be facing out to the street are going to be automated and haunted. Woo! The two on the sides though are just stationary. Now I did connect these with little hinges, and so you do have the power to kind of move them and make them kind of three-dimensional and add an extra detail to the haunted house. To make these, I made them out of 3/4 inch plywood because I just had some scraps. And what I did is I could have cut them in half and had two different boards, but just to kind of make sure that everything stayed together, what I did is I set the blade for half the thickness, ran it through a couple times to create that 1/2 inch space. And you can use a circular saw. I used a table saw. And then what I did is I just cut a little piece of probably, I think it was scrap cedar or something, and shot it onto there. And then Gina aged these up with her little vinegar and steel wool solution. They kind of match the window shape, and can kind of cobweb it up or whatever. This window is missing its little crossbar because this is how I climb in and out onto the roof. But let me show you our automated ones. Okay, so we are in one of the windows that's in the front. You can see the little reindeer motor skeleton hand we have. He's pulling the curtains back right now. But I have a solenoid valve back there, a 5-port 2-way solenoid valve, and it's connected to these air cylinders. I have several clevis ends. I just don't have the brackets for them. So what I did, because I didn't feel like spending the money, is I created some little steel brackets and just drilled holes on either side. And then I used plumber's tape and just any kind of scrap pieces of metal, twisted the rebar wire around through the holes, and then just, I pinched the fittings through the couple nuts. But I drilled a large hole. The air cylinder is mounted to some 3/4 inch little brackets that I made, and the stroke to these is not real. I mean, this doesn't throw very far. It's only like 1 inch or 2 inch, but it's enough to create like a haunted little look to it. You can see this one over here has actually got a clevis on there. I just don't have the bracket that it goes onto to create the fancy connection. Again, guys, just Halloween props, It doesn't have to be cool and fancy, as long as it works. This is another one I made with just plumbing strap. Just cut the corners and so it wasn't sharp. That's all you need, right? Because these are going to be going back and forth and there's a little bit more wear on these, I chose to go with a little bit heavier duty hinges than the ones on the side. And I've only had the screws rip out of this once. So far they're doing pretty good. You can see there's a little bit of slop. It really doesn't matter for the effect that this is doing, so I'm really happy with it. I could spend some more time on it, but I really just need to move on because Halloween's coming and we're running out of time. There's a lot more other props that I'd like to get finished, so let me fire it up. As far as what's making the air cylinders work, I've got several of these 5-port 2-way solenoid valves, and I still have everything running off of 110 just because that's the way it's always been, and I haven't switched over to the low voltage yet. I'm going to do that someday so I can get some cool prop controllers, but until then I'm using the chase units just like I did for the weather vane. And even though this has got 2 exhaust ports and I've got mufflers on all of them, it's not quite enough for me. So what I did is I just wrapped some material all around it, taped it up real good, and you can barely hear it now, and that's good because I really hate listening to those things turning off and on. I've got it plugged into an extension cord that reaches over to the other side, and then I've got 2 of these chase units and they alternate. So one is attached to one side on each window, and then the other one is attached to the other 2. That way it creates kind of like an alternating effect, and I can have them at different speeds so that one side's going fast and one side's going a little bit slower. And that is kind of my funky way of creating a nice little action. Now, it's not anywhere near as fancy as a prop controller would be. That actually is the coolest way because you get those prop controllers and then you can program your little sequences and really have some fun little setups. But until then, this is what we're doing, and little kids don't know any different. They just want candy anyway, right? All my solenoid valves and air cylinders are mostly Norgren. You can find them online. This one's going to range you anywhere from 30 bucks to 100, just depending on which website you go to. You're looking at the back side of one of the windows, and what I've got is I've got double acting air cylinders. They're Norgrens. They'll range anywhere from $10 all the way to $50. This one I believe is a 3/4 bore, and it's got like a 1-inch stroke. And then the one over here is slightly bigger. I think it's got an 1.5-inch bore and a 2-inch stroke. But they're both double acting. That causes the air cylinder to go in and out. I just made these little brackets out of 3/4-inch plywood and bolted them to the back of this wall here. For the air cylinders, I've got 1/4-inch push connect fittings and then the 1/4-inch air hose going down to the solenoid valve. You can see the little brackets that I have there. I just have them screwed into the top of the plywood, and then what I did is I drilled holes through the flats going out to the front, and then that's connected to the shutters. Same thing with this one. I've got the brackets, and I just since the hole's so big in the brackets, I just took a drywall screw with a washer and then locked it down to the plywood. Here's a better shot where you can see both of them. So you can hear the little bit of the air, but it's nothing like if that wasn't there. And again, it's like I put mufflers on here and tried to quiet it up pretty good, and you know, you still hear it. But most of that banging and noises that you hear is just going to be from the shutters, which is a good thing because I want them to look up there anyway. You can adjust the speeds however you want, so like I can have them go faster or slower, so I've kind of wanted them just sporadically doing different things. So for those of you that are thinking about maybe making some easy pneumatic props, this is a very simple version of doing it. Again, I'll post all the part numbers and you guys can just search online, and then you just need a compressor and some little push connect fittings and you're on your way. Someday if we get our act together and we're not too busy building facades and stuff, we'll have to invest in some prop controllers and low voltage solenoids and all that kind of stuff so we can really make some really cool action type of props. But until then, this is one of our afterthoughts, and it's always fun to rush around and get as many of these moving props done as you can right before Halloween. And this is one of them. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you soon.